You ended it. You healed. You did the work. You swore it would never happen again. And then somehow, a completely different person began to feel exactly the same. It is not bad luck. It is not your fault. And it is definitely not a coincidence. The person keeps changing, but the pattern never does. And today we are going to talk about exactly why. Different name, different face, different story, same arguments, same silence, same feeling of walking on eggshells in your own life. You have done everything right. You left. You took time for yourself. You went to therapy or read the books or listened to every podcast about healing and toxic relationships. You genuinely believed you had broken the cycle. And then you met someone new. And in the beginning, they were everything the last person was not. Patient where the last one was volatile. Attentive where the last one was distant. Safe where the last one was unpredictable. And then slowly, so slowly you almost missed it, the familiar feeling began to return. The anxiety, the walking on eggshells, the shrinking of yourself to keep the peace, the desperate hope that if you just love them well enough this time, it will be different. It was not different. And you are sitting here now asking yourself the question that haunts every person who has ever been through this cycle more than once. Why does this keep happening to me? Today, finally, we answer that question completely. It is not who you choose. The first thing most people get wrong about this pattern is where the problem actually lives. They think the problem is in their choice of partner, that they have bad taste, that they are attracted to the wrong type of person. If they could just learn to choose differently, the pattern would stop. So they make a list, qualities they want, red flags to avoid, things to look out for. They approach dating like a job interview, screening for narcissism, checking for emotional availability, testing for consistency. And it still happens again, because the problem is not in who you choose. The problem is in what feels like home. Your nervous system, not your conscious mind, is running the attraction process. And your nervous system learned its definition of love, safety, and connection in your very first relationships, the ones you had no choice about, the ones that happened before you even had language to describe them. And it is trying with every new person to recreate what it already knows. The blueprint. Psychologists call it a relational blueprint. It is the unconscious template your nervous system developed in childhood for what relationships feel like, what love feels like, what connection feels like, what safety feels like. And here is the part that changes everything when you truly understand it. Your relational blueprint was not formed by what was good for you. It was formed by what was familiar to you. If you grew up in a home where love was consistent, warm, and unconditional, your blueprint reflects that. You are drawn to consistency, warmth, and emotional safety. Those things feel like love because they always were. But if you grew up in a home where love was inconsistent, where affection had to be earned, where warmth was followed by coldness, where you were never quite sure where you stood, then your blueprint reflects that instead. And the person who triggers that familiar feeling, the push and pull, the hot and cold, the electric uncertainty of never quite knowing where you stand, does not just feel attractive to you. They feel like destiny. They feel like the person you were always supposed to meet. What they actually feel like is home. And home was not always safe. Why the wrong person feels like chemistry. This is the piece that most people never fully understand, and it is the most important piece of this entire conversation. The feeling you get when you meet someone who matches your relational blueprints, the butterflies, the electricity, the sense of deep and instant connection, that feeling is real. It is just not what you think it is. What you are experiencing is not chemistry in the romantic sense. What you are experiencing is recognition. Your nervous system is recognizing a familiar emotional landscape, the same uncertainty it learned to navigate in childhood, the same emotional unavailability it spent years trying to unlock, the same push and pull that taught your brain to release dopamine in the anticipation of the next good moment. The problem is that recognition feels identical to attraction. Your body cannot tell the difference between this person feels familiar because they are right for me, and this person feels familiar because they match the painful patterns I grew up with. Both produce the same physical sensation. And so you follow the feeling, because the feeling has always felt like the truth, until you understand that the feeling is a map, and the map was drawn in a place you have already left. The comfortable versus the healthy. Here is a question that will genuinely shift something in you if you sit with it honestly. In your experience, has the person who felt the most electric, the most magnetic, most like destiny, also tended to be the person who caused you the most pain? For most people who resonate with this video, the answer is yes. And here is why. The intensity of the feeling is not evidence of the depth of the connection. It is evidence of the depth of familiarity. When someone consistently kind, reliably present, and straightforwardly available enters your life, many people find that they feel flat, unexcited, like something is missing. The connection lacks depth. What is actually missing is anxiety. And if your nervous system learned to associate anxiety with love, its absence feels like the absence of love itself. This is one of the most painful discoveries in healing, that what felt like passion was often panic. What felt like the most real thing you had ever experienced was your nervous system recreating a wound it had been trying to heal since childhood. Healthy love does not feel like a roller coaster. Healthy love feels like, and this takes some adjustments, peace. Sigmund Freud first described something he called the repetition compulsion, the unconscious drive to recreate painful past experiences in the hope of finally achieving a different outcome. A part of you keeps choosing the same type of person because a part of you believes that this time it will be different. This time, the emotionally unavailable person will become available. This time, the inconsistent person will become consistent. This time, you will finally receive the love that was withheld from you the first time. It is the most heartbreaking optimism in the human experience. You are not trying to hurt yourself, you are trying to heal yourself. You are unconsciously returning to the scene of the original wound, hoping to finally get it right. But here is the truth that repetition compulsion cannot accept. The person in your adult relationship is not the person who created the original wound. And healing the wound requires going back to its actual source, not recreating it endlessly in new relationships, hoping for a different result. Why changing your type does not work? You have probably tried this. After a painful relationship ended, you made a conscious decision to choose someone completely different. Different personality, different background, different everything. And for a while, it seemed to work. They were different. The dynamic was different. You felt different. And then gradually, sometimes so gradually you cannot point to exactly when it happened, the familiar dynamic began to emerge again. Not because they were the same type of person, but because you brought the same nervous system to a new relationship. This is why changing your type does not break the cycle. Because the cycle does not live in them. It lives in the unhealed parts of you that do not yet know how to exist in a relationship that does not feel like the original wound. Changing your type without doing the internal work is like moving to a new city but bringing all your old furniture. The address is different. Everything inside feels exactly the same. How to actually break the pattern. This is the section that matters most. Step 1, learn to distinguish between familiar and healthy. Start noticing what comfortable feels like in a relationship versus what healthy feels like. They are frequently not the same thing. The person who is consistently kind and available may feel boring at first. That boredom is your healing edge. Sit with it. Step 2, follow the anxiety, not the attraction. When you feel that electric pull towards someone, that intense magnetic feeling that feels like destiny, pause. Ask yourself, is this attraction or is this recognition? Is this person drawing me in because of who they are or because of what they remind me of? Step 3, observe behavior over time. Your nervous system makes its attraction decision in seconds based on pattern recognition. Your conscious mind needs time. Give it time. Consistency over weeks and months tells you far more than chemistry in the first 5 minutes. Step 4, do the original work. The pattern ends when the original wound is acknowledged, felt, and healed. Not talked about intellectually, actually felt. Therapy, inner child work, somatic healing, whatever form of genuine processing works for you. This is the work that changes the blueprint itself. Step 5, tolerate the discomfort of something new. When someone safe, consistent, and genuinely available enters your life and it feels flat, stay anyway. Give it time. Let your nervous system slowly learn that this feeling, this quiet, unanxious, peaceful feeling, is what love is actually supposed to feel like. Here is what I want you to understand more than anything else from this video. You did not keep attracting the same person because something is wrong with you. You kept attracting the same person because something in you was still trying to heal something very old and very real. That is not weakness. That is the most human thing there is. The pattern does not end through willpower or better choices or longer list of red flags. The pattern ends when you finally turn toward the original wound with enough compassion and enough courage to say, this happened to me. It shaped me, and I am ready now to be shaped differently. That moment, that single moment of genuine turning, is where everything changes, not in the next relationship, in you. The person keeps changing. The feeling does not have to. When you heal the blueprint, you change what home feels like. And when home finally feels like peace, you will stop mistaking chaos for love. Save this. Share it with someone still wondering why it keeps happening to them.